Today's video is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport today. And by Energy Sage. Plan your energy independence and insulate yourself from rising energy costs. And by you. Stick around to find out how you can help us remain 100% independent. Welcome back to another episode of TEN Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you are safe, well, and with someone you care about who also cares for you. Before we get into today's show, I would like to do two things. First, thank you for the mainly kind words this week in relation to our behind-the-scenes video about our studio ISP choices. Yes, there were many seeking to hurt and demean the team, but many willing to stand up and support us. Thank you. Second, I'd like to apologise for all the typos in last week's show. I basically produced TEN on my own, and as been the case for about the last 13 months, getting through the week has been both mentally and physically demanding. But the quality of the video isn't what you've come to expect, and for that, I'm sorry. We start today with some breaking news from Canada. Ever since the US government started posting pictures online showing Canada and Greenland as part of the US, in fact, before then, Canada has been working hard to distance itself from the craziness. And while the subversive attempts by the Trump regime to try and encourage Alberta to secede from Canada and join the US are about as subtle as suddenly clearing the Oval Office after a strange bottom-related noise is heard on the mic, the Canadian government has been full steam ahead on securing a better future for its citizens. Just as we were about to film, Prime Minister Mark Carney, fresh from a trip to China where he inked a monumental deal to allow Chinese EVs onto Canada's roads, announced a 5-year reinstatement of EV purchase incentives. EVs made in Canada or imported via a free trade partner agreement will be eligible for up to 5,000 Canadian dollars in EV purchase incentives and 2,500 Canadian dollars for PHEV purchases. Canada is now looking to achieve 75% EV sales by 2035 and 90% EV sales by 2040, a move away from the previous 100% EV mandate by 2030. Canada has also announced a new $3.1 billion Canadian dollar investment into Canada's auto industry to help it adapt, grow and diversify as US aggression makes old trade partnerships no longer palatable. Prime Minister Carney has stated he'd love to see US tariffs on Canadian vehicles drop to zero in a reciprocal agreement, but the White House is eager to continue the aggression and has dismissed that out of hand. Elbows up, Canada. While Ford appears to be kowtowing to US policy on EVs, a new article published on the From the Road blog this week suggests that, despite its pushback to ICE, its EV customers don't want to go back. The story focuses on two hardened Ford fans who still love V8s but use Ford EVs as their daily drivers, and say Ford, these customers are indicative of the majority of Ford customers who switch from gasoline to electric, insomuch as they say they'll never go back to gas. Yet this is coming from a company that just cancelled one of its 3 electric vehicles in North America to switch to a model with an internal combustion engine, and from a brand whose sales have fallen precipitously as its EV marketing budget has been slashed. The piece was published just before CEO Jim Farley published a teaser image of the development work being carried out on Ford's first universal platform EV, a compact $30,000 electric pickup truck. Ford wants people to know it's not giving up on EVs while expanding its ICE vehicle production, so to say it's sending mixed messages would be something of an understatement. After weeks of warnings about Waymo's fleet of robo-taxis failing to properly respond to stopped school buses in the US, a separate incident occurred in Santa Monica, California, where a Waymo robotaxi hit a child. According to Waymo's own version of events, a child crossed the road from behind a large, double-parked SUV near an elementary school, and the Waymo robotaxi was able to slow from 70 miles per hour to 6 miles per hour before hitting and knocking down the child. The child is reported to have stood up immediately after the impact on their own and sustained, quote, minor injuries. Waymo says in its blog post about the incident that, having modelled the collision, it believes a human driver would have hit the child at 14 miles per hour, resulting in more severe injuries, but that will likely be seen by many quite fairly, as a sidestep of the issue. Robotaxis might be able to handle a large part of driving duties, but this accident reveals the real-world impacts of the current gaps before we can reach autonomous everything. That said, the accident doesn't appear to have harmed Waymo, which announced a $16 billion funding round this week, because tech bros love AI even when... No. Bad, Nikki. Automatically retracting door handles have become fairly common on EVs in the last 5 years as automakers seek to eke out every last bit of efficiency from their vehicle designs. Yet, in addition to proving somewhat temperamental compared to standard mechanical door handles, the majority of retracting door handles rely on electronic door poppers that can fail in accidents or when the car's 12-volt system fails, making ingress and egress difficult. While some nations require secondary mechanical door release mechanisms, automakers don't always do a great job making them obvious or indeed training customers on where they are, and that means even when a car has a backup release, they aren't always used. Now, following a spate of horrific fatalities involving trapped passengers and EV accidents, China has announced a total ban on flush retractable door handles from the start of next year. The regulations will affect all newly introduced models and require a recessed space that's at least 6 centimetres wide, 2 centimetres tall, and 2.5 centimetres deep to allow manual door operation. Handles themselves may be traditional or semi-flush, but not fully flush. Hyundai has confirmed it will not be producing any 2026 model year variants of the Kona EV for the US market. The company says it will be selling last year's model, skipping from the 2025 model year to the 2027 model year. The new model year is expected to enter production this summer. Car and Driver, which broke the news and confirmed the model year jump with Hyundai, says it expects the Kona EV to only be available in base model configuration when it returns. This seems to imply that the Kona EV's days remain numbered, with Hyundai putting its EV focus on newer models like the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 9. It's also worth remembering that Hyundai hasn't broken out Kona EV sales for a long time, and while it says it's committed to domestic Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 9 production, it removed all but the performance-oriented Ioniq 6N from US sales last year. Is the Kona the latest victim of anti-EV policy in the US? Probably. Will it be the last? I fear not. It's been a while since the last Jaguar I-Pacers rolled off the production line, and in fact a long time since any Jaguars of any fuel type rolled off any production lines. But this week, the company teased footage from its latest winter testing trip for the Jaguar GT prototype. It's been off to the Arctic Circle to undergo winter testing ahead of its official reveal later this year, and Jaguar is eager to share testing progress. Unlike its previous EV, the I-Pace, which was meant to be a more reasonably approachable model, the all-new GT is aimed at a completely different market segment, with Jaguar executives recently bandying around some truly eye-watering target prices. And for that high-end, more expensive than Lucid Air price point, Jaguar is going all out with performance. The GT promises more than 735 kilowatts at the wheels, triple motors, and an 850-volt battery pack capable of charging at speeds of up to 650 kilowatt. It's another high-end model at a time when we need affordable EVs, so only time will tell if Jaguar's gamble plays off. Last week, we told you that BMW was reporting higher than anticipated interest in its iX3, and this week, follow-up news suggests the brand is all but sold out of allocations for the year. Automotive News reported this week that the company has confirmed a second production shift at its new Hungarian iX3 production line and is doing everything it can to ensure confirmed orders won't have a long wait to be fulfilled. It's certainly great news to see a new EV get such high interest and demand, but along with that high demand comes a sad side effect of the same: increased pricing. This week, multiple outlets confirmed that BMW has quietly increased the pricing for its car. While there are now new features available that weren't originally available at launch, such as faster optional onboard charging in Europe, BMW's base price for the new iX3 50X drive is now €2,000 more expensive than it was when the vehicle was previously announced. New data collected by SNE Research into the electric vehicle battery market last year shows that CATL's market leader further grew, even as the market itself grew by nearly 1/3. Last year, more than 1,187 gigawatt hours of EV battery cells were made, the first time that more than 1,000 gigawatt hours of EV cells have been made in a year, and up 31.7% on the 901.4 gigawatt hours of capacity produced in 2024. CATL, which has enjoyed the market leader position for many years, was responsible for nearly 465 gigawatt hours of the total capacity produced last year, equivalent to a 39.2% market share, up from 38% in the previous year and a 35.7% growth. Its nearest competitor is BYD, which was responsible for 16.4% of all EV battery manufacturing last year, equivalent to 194.8 gigawatt hours. Combined, these two firms represent more than 55% of the global EV battery marketplace, showing how much dominance these Chinese brands have on the rest of the world. Electric hydrofoil boat specialist Candela was celebrating a new first this week by completing an international multi-day trip between two Scandinavian ports. Leaving the port of Gothenburg, Sweden, a stock Candela P12 took part in a 3-day voyage to its new home in Oslo, Norway, stopping multiple times during the voyage to charge and go through demos. Designed for short-distance ferry services, the P12 features a 40 nautical mile range in normal operation at an average service speed of 25 knots. Unlike some of its rivals in the space, which make use of expensive automated battery swap stations, the P12 makes use of standard DC fast charging infrastructure, and for this particular trip, it made use of a portable 350 kilowatt DC fast charger connected to a mobile battery pack system that was towed behind a Ford F-150 Lightning to planned points en route for charging. The world's longest electric sea journey to date, the trip is estimated to have cost less than €200 in electricity. You might remember how, at the start of this year, I reported that a coal-fired power station in Colorado that was meant to close at the end of last year had been ordered to stay open by the Trump administration. At the time, I questioned the wisdom of keeping the old, constantly breaking facility open, and it seems I wasn't alone. This week, we learned that two of the majority shareholder utilities who operate the plant have petitioned the US DOE for a rehearing on the plant's future, stating that the cost of reopening would dramatically increase the cost of electricity for Coloradan customers. Previous analysis has suggested the cost could be as high as $79 million, but the DOE is currently adamant that it must stay open. Because coal. Meanwhile, the fifth and final court case against the Trump administration's attempts to halt all offshore wind development has led to the fifth and final preliminary injunction against the government. All 5 wind farm projects targeted by the White House can now complete construction and operate, but I should note this hasn't changed the president's approach to wind. This week on Truth Social, he made multiple all-cap rants implying the US will no longer allow solar or wind projects to be permitted, so watch this space. That is, if you have spare cycles against weeping for the future of democracy, that is. But hey, if you are in the US and you would like to make up for the attempted attacks on solar and wind by going DIY, you should probably talk to our friends at EnergySage. EnergySage connects you with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help guide you through the processes of installing solar panels or getting a heat pump installed. Not a homeowner? No worries. EnergySage can still help you green your electricity by helping you join a community solar program. We used EnergySage for ourselves when looking for installers willing to put solar panels on our roof, and their verified pros were knowledgeable and even introduced us to a fantastic credit union to help us finance the project with low monthly payments. And while there are now fewer financial rebates and credits available in the US for going solar, you'll benefit from keeping your energy costs stable as utility costs continue to rise. Follow the links below to sign up for EnergySage's free no-obligation service and get started today. And if you choose an EnergySage installer, we'll also receive a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us too. Help the good get greener, save money, gain energy independence, and support the show. It's a win-win-win-win. And now it's time for our recall reminders, and as usual, if these affect you, you'll find more details on our show notes on our website. Oshkosh, the company responsible for making the new postal delivery vehicles used by the US Postal Service, has recalled its ICE and EV variants to address potential wheel detachment issues. Volkswagen has extended its ID4 recall campaign further to address battery production defects that could cause internal short circuits within affected cars' battery packs. More than 44,000 cars are affected. Polestar is recalling 213 Polestar 3s to address improperly fitted striker brackets for the rear seat backrests. Owners of Polestar 3s can now search NHTSA's website to see if their cars are affected. Kia and Hyundai are both carrying out a simultaneous recall campaign on multiple models, including EVs, to address an issue with vehicles' instrument panel clusters that can fail to display important information. Similar to the Genesis recall last week, an OTA is planned. And finally, for the recalls, Zero Motorcycles is recalling 118 motorcycles spread across its DSRX, DS, DSR and DSRP ranges to address a twisted front brake hose that may break and leak. Affected bikes will be listed by the end of this month on NHTSA's website. That's it for the recall reminders. Now it's time for our news shorts. As usual, you'll find full links on our website at transportevolved.com. BMW is celebrating the first pre-production BMW i3 to roll off its brand new, newer class production line in Munich. While it shares a name with the i3 of last decade, everything else is very different on the new one. Ford and Geely are said to be nearing the end of talks on collaboration into technology and production in Europe. The two firms could pair up on making EVs there, expanding Ford's portfolio and allowing Geely to avoid European Chinese import tariffs. While many US states are working to make electric bicycles harder to own and operate, the state of Oregon is considering lowering the legal e-bike riding age in the state, while restricting top speeds and requiring helmet use for under 16s. It's designed to allow for proper e-bike education rather than restriction. Chevrolet is discounting its Equinox EV in the US by as much as $10,000 to counter the loss of EV purchase incentives. Exactly how large the discounts are depends on the model ordered. Massachusetts has launched its new vehicle-to-grid test program in which 5 different school districts and 30 individual residents across the state get free V2X hardware to help understand vehicle-to-grid resiliency and operation. With 5 days left before its official reveal, Toyota has teased images of its all-new 3-row electric SUV. Due to launch later this year, it will be Toyota's largest EV to date. Audi has announced some mild changes to its A6 and Q6 e-tron models for this year. In addition to an enhanced digital dash, there are tweaks to steering wheel controls, a new relaxation mode for charging, and brand new dash cams. New sales data for Norway shows that EV registrations plummeted in January, but so too did ICE vehicle registrations. Consequently, EVs still hold 94% of new car market there. Porsche has officially started series production of the Cayenne electric at its factory in Bratislava. It promises a range of over 600 km per charge and 400 kilowatt fast charging capabilities. Polestar has announced a new equity raise of $400 million to enable it to continue growing its global presence. The funding came from 2 different investment banking institutions. Polish hydrogen fuel cell bus company Arthur Bus has filed for insolvency in Poland. The company delivered its first vehicle in 2022, but has suffered some multiple executive departures in recent months. Swiss airplane specialist H55 has announced that it's completed the required propulsion battery module certification tests required to commercialise its all-electric airplane. California is considering a new EV incentive program designed to encourage more people to go electric. It will limit applicants to first-time EV buyers if it's passed. It's still in the draft phase, however. Big rig company Windrose has announced it will be establishing a new European facility located at the port of Antwerp-Bruges. The hub will be used for European assembly and R&D of new trucks. Chinese company Chery has announced that it will be building a new commercial vehicle headquarters for the northern city of Liverpool, UK. The facility will include engineering, software development and R&D. Fiat's performance arm, Abarth, has announced some tweaks to the 600e range to include new Turismo and Competizione trim levels. The new flagship variant will do a 5.85-second stoplight sprint. Stagecoach in Devon, UK, is finding some unexpected issues with its fleet of new electric buses. According to local reports, some of its routes in Torbay are simply too narrow for the buses to fit. Croatia is celebrating the launch of 7 new funded bus projects across the nation. By the time the programme ends, 206 new electric buses in 17 Croatian municipalities will have been funded. The Indian government is preparing to encourage incentive programs to try and encourage domestic lithium and nickel processing, bringing the nation closer to closed-loop sourcing for battery materials. Chinese firm NIO has made its first Hungarian delivery. The delivery took place at the official opening of the company's first showroom in the nation, with further deliveries planned shortly. The Victor Valley Transit Authority in California has unveiled a fleet of new hydrogen fuel cell buses along with an interim fueling system. The buses cover routes in the high desert of California. The federal government is said to be looking at the safety of heavy-duty electric trucks used for hazardous material transportation to see if transporting hazmat by electric big rigs requires special rules. ABB, working with Ampol, has rolled out the first ABB A400 fast-charging stations for Australia. Capable of providing up to 400 kilowatts to compatible vehicles, they are located off the M4 in Sydney. BYD has officially begun test production of its new EV production line at its Hungarian facility. Series production is expected to be ready to commence sometime in the second quarter of this year. Incheon International Airport in South Korea has become the world's first airport to host a hydrogen fueling mobility hub built around liquefied hydrogen fuel. It will be capable of fueling 240 hydrogen fuel cell buses per day. Oshkosh, a subsidiary brand of Changan, has adopted CATL sodium-ion batteries for use in its passenger cars. The Oshkosh 520 is very popular in its home market of China with taxi operators. BYD saw a 30% sales drop in China during January, partly due to its focus on export rather than domestic sales. However, tough competitive pricing from rivals is also to blame. Toyota's battery partner, Imedetsu Kosan, has announced that it has produced a pilot production line for building solid electrolytes for use in future Toyota solid-state battery packs. Just a few weeks after it officially launched the P7 Plus in Europe, XPeng has begun deliveries of the same in several European markets. It's already proving popular thanks to its competitive pricing. CATL reiterated this week that its 5C battery packs are designed to last millions of kilometres in real-world use. Its current pack is designed to offer at least 80% capacity even after 1.8 million kilometres. NIO's subsidiary Firefly has officially begun deliveries of the Firefly EV in Singapore. This is the first market to launch with a right-hand drive version of the Firefly and suggests other right-hand drive markets will follow soon. Kia has officially launched a pickup variant of the PV5 in South Korea. The vehicle, based on the eGMP platform, has been officially designed to offer as much flexibility and modularity as possible. Oslo has announced a change to its AC charging pricing structure for EV owners. Now, fees in the city relate to electricity used and time spent charging, rather than just time spent charging as in the past. IKEA Italy has partnered with Daimler Trucks to launch a fleet of all-electric eActros 600 delivery trucks at locations throughout Italy, working alongside transportation specialist LC3 Trasporti. Staying with Italy, Genesis has officially expanded its EV offerings into the nation for the first time. Its GV60, electrified GV70 and electrified G80 will be available through its Italian dealer network. After a slow start, driven by its reticence to reintroduce EVs to the market, Toyota EV sales are starting to grow in the US, with the Toyota BZ selling just shy of 2,800 models during the first month of January. The Hyundai Kona Electric, while paused in production in North America, is now officially eligible for the UK's full purchase grant. Motability customers in the UK get even more discounts off the purchase price. Siemens subsidiary Heliox has announced a new fleet-targeted charging solution based on the VersiCharge Blue 80 amps. That's fine in principle, but that's the same unreliable unit Ford uses for its ChargeStation Pro. Fastned has announced a new bond issuance to help it raise more funds to co-finance the expansion of its fast-charging network across Europe. The company had its best year last year. A new autonomous electric bus shuttle service is now operating on a 7-kilometre-long public route between the NEC Birmingham, Resorts World Birmingham, International Station and Birmingham Business Park. It's part of a new autonomous shuttle test programme in the region. Aptera shared a new progress video last week detailing some of the progress made to its solar electric car in recent weeks. Fresh from 2 fundraisers, the company remains hopeful it will start deliveries to customers this year. Toyota has officially unveiled a battery electric version of its Pixis van in Japan, a K-class commercial vehicle. The electric version could prove popular with Japanese businesses looking for cheap transportation. Orion Energy Systems is working on a $4 million project that will see it install DC fast charging stations at Boston public schools. In total, more than 104 charging stations will be installed. And finally, for the news shorts, UK firm SunSwap has entered into the Australian market for the first time with its electrified refrigerated trailers. Designed to run independently of the tractor pulling it, it should lower emissions considerably. And those are your news shorts. There'll be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first, a word from our most important sponsor, you. For more than 15 years, 10 of them here in the US, the TE team and I have been bringing you news on cleaner, greener, safer, smarter and more equitable transportation and energy. We're not backed by corporations and we don't have massive production budgets. Our small team, 3 full-time and 1 part-time, work hard every week to bring you well-researched, honest content. From the beginning, we've avoided advertorial money and focused on content, not revenue. For a long time, YouTube ad revenue helped cover the costs, but that's no longer the case. Like many creators in the space, our revenue has dropped sharply as ad dollars are swallowed up by AI. And as this year continues where last year left off, we're feeling the pinch. And without some serious increase in income, it's going to become increasingly difficult for us to continue. Our costs have soared in the last year, even as we have pared down, self-hosted, and done everything we can to keep our business lean. And that's one of the reasons we don't make many trips or indeed make many big budget videos. So if you are able, and I truly mean only if you are able, please consider supporting us from as little as $1.50 a month on Patreon. And if you can't, sharing our work, reposting it and engaging with us helps more than you might think. So to everyone who already supports us, thank you. You're the reason we're still here. And now let's get to those final two stories. Car dealers, especially in the US, are known for being quite unscrupulous, and while there are some great dealerships out there, it's a sad fact that most customers don't enjoy visiting them. And that reputation has been well earned over countless generations, not to mention some pretty overt political campaign meddling. And unfortunately, many dealerships want EVs to fail, or at least to try and make money off the few they have, which is where one Texas Chevrolet dealership comes in. According to reporting from Electrek, Clay Cooley Chevrolet in Texas has a 3-year-old Chevrolet Bolt EUV LT Redline sitting on its lot that it's still trying to sell. Why, you might ask, after 3 years is it still on the lot? Well, the answer might be the ridiculous asking price, more than $13,000 over the car's original MSRP. The folks at Electrek did try to get an explanation for the high price, but got quite the runaround from the dealership, and I'm afraid my personal conclusion is that said dealership never wanted to sell it in the first place. And if a 3-year-old EV won't sell, it's a perfect excuse to a dealership manager not to buy any new models to sell. I would love to be proven wrong, but yeah. And finally, it's well known, I think by now, that the more connected a vehicle becomes, the more likely it is that it will fall victim to some software bug or exploit that grants unauthorized access to sensitive systems. But apparently, it's a problem with charging infrastructure too, and that was highlighted at the recent Pwn2Own Automotive 2026 Hacker Conference this past weekend, where security white hat experts vied with one another to see just what type of security vulnerabilities they could exploit in pursuit of up to $1 million in prizes. And based on the video playing here, thanks to Monstead in our Discord for recording this gameplay, you can probably guess what happens next. This year, we saw plenty of action, including hacking of the Grizzly E's smart 40-amp charging station, the Autel MaxiCharge 40 Elite Home, and most notably, the Alpatronic HYC50 DC fast charging station. Most of the exploits granted some form of access, but the team from Durin Oy were able to gain root access to the charging station and install Doom on it. And as any nerd will tell you, does it run Doom is one of the perennial questions of hardware hacking. I honestly think it would be quite fun to add a charging station Doom session, as long as you could play it from the comfort of your car while charging. What say you? And on that note, we are done for today. But first, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. The EVA has been advocating for EVs since 1967 and remains firmly committed to a cleaner, greener future for all. Join the EVA today to learn how to become an EV educator, meet like-minded EV fans, and get help making your own transition to electric, including access to a loan interest loan programme to help finance your next step. You can find out more at myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to start planning your own energy-independent future today. And of course, thank you. If you're able, please consider supporting us from as little as $1.50 a month on Patreon. Supporting us can also mean sharing our content, joining our Discord chat, promoting us on social media, or using our affiliate links, all of them linked below. And if one-off donations are more of your thing, we also have a PO Box and Ko-fi, both of which are great ways to help us keep going, as many of you have used this week to help fund our upcoming trip. Thank you. We publish every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday on this channel, and every Sunday we publish 2 more on Transport Evolved Take 2. And before I go, some very important words. You are valid, you are loved, you belong, and you have a purpose. Every week, I stand here and I say that you matter, and I truly believe it. But as things here in the US become increasingly authoritarian, and we all witness, either from near or far, it can be hard to believe that things will ever feel safe or indeed normal ever again. I know many of you feel it too. The level of hate and violence being displayed by armed thugs on the behalf of the president on our streets isn't normal, and it isn't okay. And those feelings you have of needing to self-isolate, they're perfectly normal too. So is anger at what's happening. And that anger can be used for building a better future. Because you have every right to protest. Do so peacefully, with intent, and with care for yourself and those you love. Be better than the fear they spread, be wiser than the lies they tell, and be stronger than the bridges they seek to dismantle. You're not alone. We are all stronger than this, and we all have a part to play in helping build a better world, one rooted in decency, community justice, and togetherness. And if you'd like ideas on how to be a better ally, a better community member, and how to make good trouble, check out Kate and my live stream from last month, where we talk about ways to stay involved, stay safe, and stay prepared for whatever happens next. Let your light shine. Wherever you are, whoever you are, and whoever you love. Don't let hate or ignorance win, because we are all better than this. As always, keep evolving.